All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about Jon Jones, because this happens to be one of the topics that I love talking about. And I haven't gotten the opportunity to talk about it recently. And that's like fighter pay, fighter negotiations, the UFC as a business, how it differs from boxing and all that stuff that I think I have some pretty unique insight into, given that I've been on both sides of the fence as it relates to this conversation. I'll explain what I mean during the video. But Jon Jones wants more money. Okay, Jon Jones wants more money, and he is demanding, a certain threshold, and we're going to talk about that, but mostly we're going to talk about people who think they have an opinion on this, okay? So anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell, tell your friends, and comment on this video. I mean, you guys are pretty good about that, but throw a comment up there. I mean, I'm such a hyperbolic figure. It's like, people, you either want to say yay or, hey, Jesse, what do you know about anything? Well, in this case, I know a lot of things, actually. I'm going to tell you exactly what those things are in a second. So, comment if you think I'm wrong. Anyway, but yeah, so Jon Jones wants more money. He's demanding, he did this. The reason I want to do this video right now is because they did the April Fool's joke, right? Like Dana and I sat down, had the best conversation in years, and, we got the deal done. The Francis fight's happening. And I was like, yes! And then it's like April Fool's. I'm like, really? Really, dude? Like, come on, man. I understand that you're negotiating for more money, but that's just mean. Like, that's just mean to the fans. That's not nice. I mean, look, if how upset, I was upset, if how disappointed I was is any indication of whether he's worth much more money than he is, because I was very excited that fight was going to get made. Eventually it's going to get made, whatever. But here's the thing. He says 10 million would be insulting, right? Like 10 million, that would be insulting. And I think he's got a great point there, okay? And I'll tell you exactly why. But again, I want to preface all of this with that I am not in a position to question how much guys get paid, and neither is anyone else, guys, girls, UFC fighters. So I'll just tell you my logic as it relates to why I think that probably is true. Jon Jones goes, 10 million is too low. Here it is. Nate Diaz made 10 million for the second Conor McGregor fight. And Conor made a hell of a lot more than that, right? So clearly you can have a headliner that features two guys and you're going to pay them out a combined, I don't know, I'm sure Conor made at least 25. You pay him out 35 million combined, right? So what's 10 million times 2? 20? Why should Jon Jones and Francis get half of what, Conor and Nate get, right? I'm just saying, yeah, in every case, Conor is going to draw like that, right? Like, it's a unique situation. Conor is the biggest draw in the history of the sport. So yeah, his deal is different, obviously. And Jon Jones is not a draw like that normally. Okay, he's not a draw. He's a big draw, but he's not a draw like Conor. He's a draw like I don't know, whatever. He's not Conor. In this case, though, for this fight, this is different. This is different. It's not just about people think that he's asking for more money because he's like, oh man, it's so scary that I'm going to fight Francis Ngannou. It's like, no. I don't know. I don't think that's why. But I think why he's negotiating is because he knows he's a smart enough guy. If I know this is a different type of event, then he obviously knows this is the greatest light heavyweight in history, potentially the greatest fighter in history, going up a weight class to fight for the heavyweight title. Okay, this is going to sell, and he knows it, and he is a 100% vital piece of the equation. How do you think Jon Jones versus Francis is going to do versus Jon Jones versus Derek Lewis? Seriously. Derek Lewis is cool, but the Jon Jones fight is another 600,000 pay-per-view buys, if I was going to guess. Seriously. I don't know about 600. 400,000 on the low side. Maybe more than 600, but 400,000 on the low side. What's 400,000? Let's see. What's 400,000 times 60? That is, God damn it, unbelievable. It's $24 million. So, pretty simple math there. Just figure out how many extra pay-per-views you're going to sell if you're Jon Jones fighting Francis Ngannou versus any other challenger, and then you could back into the math and then figure out what you think you're worth. So 10 million should be insulting to him, honestly. I mean, again, this is so funny because I am just about to use the second half of the video to tell you why, if you think you have an opinion on what Jon Jones should be paid, you don't. But I just basically laid out my own opinion that he's probably worth much more than 10 million. But I don't know about 24. Dude, these guys have super advanced models. And as far as I understand it, the way you get paid is on the back end from the pay-per-view. So you're looking at a base salary, and then you're negotiating what your dollars per pay-per-view buys are going to be. So, it's John saying like, oh, they're going to offer me, they better be at least 10 million. I mean, I didn't think that that's the way they structure deals. It's like Conor, I'm pretty sure, only gets a $3 million base salary. Like he gets $3 million to show up, and then he gets some astronomical piece of the pay-per-view. So I don't know. It's a weird format for John to even have laid that out there, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. I agree with him. 10 million is probably low for this fight, not necessarily for the other fights. Because here's the thing. Now let me switch gears, because when this comes to this fighter pay thing, okay, I hear so many people, and I like seasoned MMA analysts say things like what I am about to say, and I'm like, what the? I mean, I guess being an MMA analyst doesn't qualify you to be a business analyst, obviously, but they still will go, I mean, listen, man, if Tyson Fury's making $25 million to fight fucking Deontay Wilder, then how is Jon Jones, or how is this person not worth at least $25 million when they're selling more pay-per-views than that? It's like, oh man, that's an embarrassing take, man. That is seriously embarrassing, because you want to know, here's what you did. You're like, well, two people get into an enclosed space and they fight each other, and then he gets paid this much, so why shouldn't this guy get paid that much? They both get into an enclosed space and fight another guy. So obviously it's the same thing. We pay pay-per-view to watch it. It's the same. It's like, shit ain't the same, bro. Shit ain't the same, bro. Okay? Boxing is a sport, okay? UFC's a company, okay? Like, UFC is a gigantic multi-billion-dollar machine, right? They have, like, employees. They have the Performance Institute. They have COVID testing. They have they have so much infrastructure. Like, the UFC is a gigantic business that costs an enormous amount of money to run, right? And then you have boxing, where it's just like, hey, this guy, it's literally, I mean, the Jake Paul and Ben Askren thing is the perfect example, okay? Because that is boxing. Like, that's not an anomaly. Like, the format of the business of Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, that's not an anomaly. That is what boxing always is. It's like, and now it just, you just don't even need to be a fucking fighter anymore. You just have to be a person who has a big following. Like Ryan Garcia, why is he a big draw? I mean, he's an awesome fighter, but he has a huge social media following. People know who he is, so he's a big draw. It's just two fighters who have draws, and it's like, hey, let's get these two to fight each other. And then each event, and sometimes it'll be a multi-fight event, but each event is the business. Like, that's the whole business. It's just this one fucking event that they're putting on. Let's get these two guys to fight each other. And they're like, all right, this production company will put in this much money to market it. This production company will put in this much money to market it. We'll pay the fighters this much. And then it's like the difference between Disneyland and like a guy who does a haunted house once a year. You know what I mean? Like, Disneyland is a gigantic machine, like a big corporation that needs to run every fucking day. And a haunted house is some guy who hires staff, and they put on this temporary thing that goes up one time, and it's literally, boxing's a haunted house. UFC's Disneyland. So, like, obviously the pay structure is going to be different because it costs an enormously larger sum to run Disneyland than it does to build a fucking haunted house, right? And you either make money on your haunted house or you don't, right? Like, there's no multi-year plan. It's just this event. We're either going to do well on it or we're going to, lose money. It's that simple. I do think they inflate the numbers that they pay the fighters to, by the way. I am pretty sure they do that because it's like, gets people talking. Fight game gets people talking. Oh, this guy's going to make $700 billion for this fight. Can you believe that? He's going to make $700 billion. I mean, we should probably watch it, given that he's going to make so much money. So, yeah, there's that. And you know what's funny? So this morning I had a guy comment on one of my videos. This is hilarious. I actually want to read this out loud because, you know, this is just kind of the shit that I do. He said, surely proclaiming yourself a genius turns more people off than it pulls in, which is ironic because the thing you're proclaiming to be a genius is in understanding people. Maybe I'm wrong. I know Americans like someone who pumps up their own tires. I'm in Australia. When someone starts off telling you how great they are, it's generally taken negatively or as a sign of false confidence, actually signaling a deeper insecurity or being consumed by one's ego. Well, it's interesting that you should bring that up. So I think what I said was I was a genius at analyzing people. So let me lay out exactly what I'm doing. So when I say I'm a genius at analyzing people, I'm going a little bit deeper than the thing that you laid out, which is, oh man, it's going to turn people off. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. So here's how this works out. Okay. So people who watch MMA channels, right, probably fall into a pretty slim personality, you know, spectrum. And all of us in one way or another fall into the combative, you know, like at least a little bit, like we're a little bit combative, right? So very likely that when we see someone, you know, kind of say some shit or whatever, like we're probably gonna be like, oh yeah? Oh, you think so, huh? Oh, you're a fucking genius, are you? Or like, you're a tough guy? You're a tough guy, are you? And so then you're going to watch. So as an example, like if a guy says he's a genius, right? He's a fucking genius at reading people. They'll go, oh, are you? So then they'll sit and they'll watch the video because what their combative brain wants them to do, or wants to happen, is they want to find you to not be a genius, to find you to be a fucking idiot, right? And so they can be like, this fucking moron said he was a genius. Unbelievable. And look at this. Oh, wow. Really genius insight. This guy's a fucking idiot. He claimed himself to be a genius, and he's actually an idiot, okay? But then what happens if you go, you know, because what happens there, right? Like, oh, that guy's a fucking genius, so I'm going to watch to prove he's not a genius, right? So now you're going to watch because you're looking for me to fuck it up. So what I'm actually doing is I'm betting on myself, right? I'm betting that you're going to go in, you know, skeptical. Skeptical is the word, right? Skeptical, like, oh, okay, prove it. And then when I do, they go, damn, that is pretty fucking smart what he said. I would have never thought of it that way, you know? Pretty fucking smart after all. Subscribe. So, going back to your comment, kind of ironic because you're proclaiming to be a genius in understanding people. So would you say that what I just said is a little bit more expansive than the thing that you said? Because I said, yeah. The shit you said, I know that. Except I'm thinking genius level below you. Fucking idiot. I'm just kidding. This guy is actually really nice. I take that back. I take it back. He threw like a no hate at the end. I mean, like he spent like a paragraph hating on me and then he was like, no hate, you know, just a cultural difference. I'm like, well, I mean, you took a long time to type that out. So it seems like it really pissed you off. But anyway, but he said Askren in round 5 and I agree with him. So we're good. Everybody's good. And by the way, if he ends up seeing this video, then it means that what I said worked. And thus, I am a fucking genius. So that's a walk-off right there. Mic drop, boom. And the reason why I thought of that genius thing is because I was thinking about how genius the analogy of the haunted house versus Disneyland was, because I just thought of that on the spot, and it's a pretty genius fucking analogy. But anyway, yeah, this is not how I talk in real life. I mean, for the most part, you know, I ham it up for the camera or whatnot. Like I'm basically like this most of the time, but if you watch my lives, that's what I'm really like, which is similar to this, but not like, you know. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna do another video in a second about Wonder Boy and Gilbert Burns. Who knows? That one might go up first. And it's neither here nor there. You know what? If you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. I love you guys. Peace.